How you doing, guys? Welcome back to Coffee and Juice. So sometimes if you throw up a question to me and you want a little bit of guidance, I'm going to do my best to offer that up. And sometimes I'll make a video out of it. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to help my man out here who kind of posted this question, and I'm going to do my best to try to dissect it, offer something to this individual, and then hopefully the channel can get something out of it. So stick around, and I'm going to break it down. So now part of this guy's question is, why does it seem that expats are infighting, meaning expat versus expat? So now think of it like this, and I might have touched on this very lightly in other videos. Just imagine you're sitting at home, just like this guy is, or you're doing right now watching me, and you're consuming so much information about Southeast Asia. You're consuming information about Thailand, this, that, and the third. So now the thing is that it's kind of like you are masterminding your own dream. Now keep in mind, maybe you've never been down here before. So then what happens is that you come down here and you're like, wait a minute. There's other people, because you might look at it like this, there's other people that are stealing my dream, meaning that you're occupying the same territory that I was, I researched, I did this and that, spoke to this person. And you're like, wait a minute. These people here have the same idea that I do. So now it's also going to bring me to a point of saying, why does the fighting begin? One of the reasons is going to be is that naturally you're entering a village of fantasy, meaning that you're watching, people that run up and down soy 6 like myself every once in a while. And you're saying, you know what? This is where I want to be. I also want to save more money. So there's all these variables that is very attractive, or there's an allure to coming out here to Thailand. But then all of a sudden you start to see like, wait a minute, there's this guy out here. And once again, the age ranges are from 25 to 70. So that I'm going to talk about another concept that may also cause infighting. So now when we talk about living your dream or masterminding a trip, and then we also talk about infighting, and this guy asks, he's kind of on the fence on like, where should he go? And basically he's seeking something different in a way. He's seeking peace and serenity. So my thing is that just before I get into my second main concept, if you're looking to seek peace and serenity, I would say there are certain obscure, quiet places in Thailand with not too many expats. And if you're looking to sit down and have a cup of coffee while there's a rooster screaming behind you and no one else is around, then there's plenty of little pockets in Southeast Asia / Thailand that you could gravitate to. Obviously, that would take your own homework. And also it's contingent on, what non-negotiables are there that you would need as comforts of home. But now let's get into probably the crux. And it also kind of layers my first point is, and I go back to this, mostly is it down here and it becomes an alpha mentality, 25 to 60. You have really, in my opinion, there's a couple of prime pieces down here, right? And now the balloons and the lashes and all these things. So what happens is you're entering a village. So now your village, depending on where you stay, Phuket, Chiang Mai, Pattaya, is that you realize that there is some competition down here. And basically everyone's juiced up. If you're down here, you're probably bordering on hypersexual. So the thing is that now it becomes a competition. Now, if you wanted to know why expats might be fighting, one of the reasons is that they're all competing for the same girl. And the thing is that, like I said, as much as you watch on TV or YouTube, depending on who you are, and we're going to get into that, your resources or what you might want to grab might be limited. So that's going to create frustration. All right. So now let's get into also what may come next. Also, a point regarding infighting is that you have people from all over the world concentrated in one area that have, different cultural beliefs. They have different hygiene beliefs. So now all these things is that you may not like people. You might just be able to tolerate them. But there's been many occasions that, you have to say to yourself, and this is probably the best advice besides the rest of the advice that I'm giving you, is that you're going to have to let things go down here. Because believe me, I bordered on possibly confronting people out here. And then there's that voice in the back, like Jiminy Cricket on TRT, basically saying, don't do it, because once you say something, you're going to have to finish it. And maybe the finishing part isn't the problem. But then once again, when the cops come, you got to take care of them. You end up in prison, whatever it might be. So what I'm saying is that the infighting part, once again, it gravitates to is that everybody's hypersexual in a competitive environment. You got a couple of drinks in your cannabis. You're on growth hormone, TRT. You're on the kitchen sink. And you might be on the kitchen sink for just like initially, meaning like you're an older guy now and you basically just hopped on gear. You don't know you basically don't know how to act. You're feeling like you're 18 again. So all these things in mind, like, why is there fighting? Another thing, and once again, to layer the conversation, I think I'm past the couple of minute mark, is that people are naturally jerk-offs. You look and you're like, this guy's a fucking jerk-off, or whatever the case is, and it's just natural. And sometimes in Thailand, it always seems that it could be a little bit more on the upper end, that there's a saturation of jerk-offs. And once again, I'm from Brooklyn, so I use the word jerk-off a lot. So all I'm trying to say is that for this guy, a former Gothamite coming out of Manhattan, he's going to save money. There's no doubt about that. If he wants to seek peace and serenity, I would argue if it's the Philippines, and once again, I haven't thoroughly researched the Philippines to really give an intelligent answer to him. But if I could say with Thailand is that if you can find a small pocket that's quiet, meaning like it ain't a soy six, you're not on Sukhumvit, that's really not going to be the way that I would argue you should go. It's basically do your research basically on the outskirts of Thailand, and that's where I would embed myself if you want peace and serenity. So just a couple of things, and once again, if you come out here, and I always go back to this, like it becomes a tier system, meaning that, like, I think the impression is when people come out here is that you're going to have the pick of the litter. Now, once again, if your pocket is very deep, you can. But then also keep in mind, if you have masterminded this idea, then there's about 300 or 3,000 other people that are trying to basically score the same bank heist. But look, coffee and juice. Hopefully got something out of it. And I'll talk to you soon.